Hey everyone, I'm Anne-Marie from the Hello Basque YouTube channel. Welcome! Ongi etorri. If you're new here, this YouTube channel is all about the Basque country and Basque people. And today's topic is misconceptions about the Basque people, Basque country, myths that need to be debunked. I'm going to try to clarify a few things for you guys today. I asked my followers on Instagram for their suggestions, like what are the biggest things that annoy them that people get wrong about the Basque country. And surprisingly, most of people's entries were about Basque people themselves, stereotypes about Basque people. So it's going to be a little bit about things people get wrong about Basque people and things we get wrong about the Basque country in general. So let's get started with some common misconceptions about Basque people. There's a stereotype out there that Basque people, and I'm guessing this is a particularly strong stereotype in Spain based on people's responses, but it seems like Basque people are known to be very cold and rude people and just generally not very nice or open to new people. And while that may be the case for some Basque people, I definitely say that's not the case for all Basque people. I've found through my travels in the Basque country that people are very nice, helpful, friendly, and to be honest, very hospitable. Maybe, of course, that's because of the circles that I'm running in, and maybe I have personal connections that help that interaction, but I haven't found anyone to be outright rude to me. And according to people on Instagram, they also agree that stereotype isn't necessarily true. The Basques are no more rude and cold than any other group of people. In terms of culture, there's a few key things that the Basque country is known for, and that is pinchos, which is these small bite-sized bar snack that has kind of become a thing internationally, and they're great. Don't get me wrong, they're great. And also the Basque burnt cheesecake, which I did make pinchos and Basque cheesecake on this channel. I've got links to those videos below. But basically these are two iconic things that have kind of made it into the mainstream internationally, I guess, that people know the Basque country for. So my followers on Instagram wanted me to let you know that's not what everybody eats. Pinchos is a very specific type of eating in a very specific social setting, but for the most part Basque people eat real food. Basque cuisine is very diverse and it's not just limited to pinchos. Although, as a tourist who's been to the Basque country, that is a memorable experience going out for pinchos in, say, Donostia, San Sebastian, or Bilbao. So I get why people love the pinchos, but just so you know, Basque people eat a lot more different types of food than just that. They're not just sitting around eating snacks of baguette and things on top of it all the time. And also the Basque burnt cheesecake, the famous Basque cheesecake, which is delicious, but it's not really a typical Basque dessert. It's actually a very specific dessert from a very specific bar in Donostia, San Sebastian. So in the Basque country, it's more known as La Viña cheesecake because it comes from La Viña, this one bar in the old town of Donostia. And so, yeah, Basque cheesecake, that's not really a thing. It's just one type of cheesecake from this one place. So while it is delicious and while it is very popular on Instagram, it's not a very typical or common dessert in the Basque country generally. Continuing with this cultural theme, there's another thing that the followers on Instagram really were bothered about, and it's people thinking that Basques are French people, Basques are Spanish people, which, okay, this is a complicated topic, so I don't blame anybody for getting it wrong or not understanding the nuances of ethnic identity, right? Because technically Basque people are French people or Spanish people based on citizenship status. But if we're talking about culture, ethnicity, history, traditions, some say genetics, we'll get into that. Basque people are different from the French and Spanish mainstream populations, if you will. The Basques have their own language, they have their own very long history before the French and before the Spanish, and so some Basque people get a little annoyed when they're reduced to, okay, you're French, okay, you're Spanish, because Basque identity, Basque ethnicity is quite different from kind of French and Spanish. So the Basques, ethnically, historically, linguistically, they've got their own thing going on. And while technically the Basque country is in France or Spain, some Basque people don't identify with any sort of ethnic or family heritage within French and Spanish categories, and so it can get a bit muddled. So basically, Basque people, don't just assume, feel free to ask. Basque people love talking about the nuances of their identities. I've found. Maybe other people find them to be cold and rude, but I've found them to be very open and very happy to explain to you what makes the Basques so different from the French and the Spanish. Now, in terms of difference, one person said there's a misconception that Basque people have like some sort of special DNA. And okay, I'm not a scientist and I don't subscribe to any academic journals, so like getting past the paywall of these different articles I've looked up online, like it's kind of hard to tell. But it seems like throughout the years, like some scientists have said, wait, the Basques do have some interesting things happening in their genes, and then other scientists say like, dude, it's not even really relevant or significant or really generalizable that the Basques have special DNA. Like as humans, we all have pretty much 99% of the same DNA. Now there might be some things genetically happening with the Basques that are significant to some scholars, to others it's nothing. And so within that category too, there's this idea, I've added this, there's this idea that Basques have special blood. Like there is such a thing as Basque blood or a Basque blood type. And this has a very long historical background to it that I'm not going to get into in this video. But pretty much the Basque country does have the highest concentration of Rh negative blood in the world. So like your blood type, you're either positive or negative. There's a lot of people in the Basque country relative to other parts of the world that have this negative factor to their blood. And also the Basque country does have very high concentrations of O blood type and very low concentrations of B blood type. But that doesn't mean like the Basques have special blood. Like there's some interesting things happening with blood types in the Basque country, but that doesn't mean that there's like a Basque blood type. Like I get comments on my channel all the time being like, I'm O negative. Does that mean I'm Basque? Like, no, not necessarily. There are plenty of people in the world who have O negative blood and that are not Basque. So from what I can tell, there's no special Basque DNA. There's no special Basque blood type. There's interesting things happening with genetics and blood types in the Basque country, but like biologically, the Basques are not like super interesting as a people, unless you like subscribe to the theory that the Basques come from Atlantis or aliens or the Tower of Babel, or I don't know what. There's plenty of theories out there, but from what's been scientifically proven so far, I don't think there's anything like really like distinctive about the Basques. There's some interesting things about the Basques, but like they're just people, guys. Now to finish off this category of stereotypes or misconceptions about Basque people, we've got to talk about the big one. The number one thing that my followers on Instagram hear all the time, I've heard it, I feel like every Basque person has heard it, that Basque people are all terrorists. Now it's not something I like to talk about on this channel because it's pretty heavy, and terrorism, armed resistance in the Basque country has a very long, complex history that I don't feel qualified to speak on. But generally, there's this stereotype about Basque people because there was a terrorist group in the Basque country called ETA, formed in the late 1950s and only disbanded fairly recently. They disarmed in 2017 and they officially announced their disbandment in 2018. So like this is pretty fairly recent history. And for many decades, when you heard news from the Basque country, especially internationally, it had to do with terrorism, which isn't great, but it is significant because ETA did kill more than 800 people throughout their reign of terror. So while there was terrorism coming out of the Basque country and for the purpose of a free and independent Basque state, to say that all Basques are terrorists is like really painting everybody with a broad brush. Towards the end of the lifespan of ETA, like they had very low opinion polls. Like most of the Basque people were not on board with ETA and their agenda and their use of violence. A small percentage of people did agree that they wanted independence for the Basque country, but in the last few decades, like nobody was a fan of them. They were sick of the violence, they were sick of the terrorizing, and so finally ETA is no more officially, and so hopefully as the years go on, it is still only 2020, hopefully as the years go on we can kind of put this stereotype to bed, but it is an unfortunate reality. Not all Basques are terrorists, although some were. Last but not least, in terms of the Basque country itself as a place, a lot of people just think the Basque country is in Spain because most of the Basque Country is technically in Spain. Most of the population of the Basque Country is in Spain, and a lot of the famous chefs and famous kind of gastronomical centers, like where you can find pinchos and where you can find Basque cheesecake, are within Spain. But there is a small part of the Basque Country that is technically in France, which if you've been following the channel, you know this, my family is from that part. So I like to make it a point to correct people that it's not just in Spain. But I can also forgive people for thinking that, because, well, it's very nuanced, the Basque Country. There's like the historical region, and there's the political region, and there's the province of Navarra, which is its own thing within Spain, separate from the official Basque autonomous community, and so like it gets a little confused. So if you want to learn more about like the distinctions of the geography of the Basque Country, I have a video all about that down below, linked as well. It's a big topic. I'm not going to get into it in this video, but just know that the Basque Country is not only in Spain. People talk about the Spanish Basque Country, the Basque region of Spain. There's a lot of different ways that the Basque Country is written about in the media, but the Basque Country is technically within Spain, and there's a little section in France too, so don't you forget about my people in the northern Basque Country. So there you go. Those are the biggest issues, the most popular things that my followers on Instagram really wanted me to set the record straight on for you guys here on YouTube. If you're looking to learn more about Basque people in the Basque Country, you've come to the right place. I've got tons of videos about all sorts of things having to do with it. So please subscribe to the Hello Basque YouTube channel. Check out my other videos. And if you have any questions, comments, other things that you want to clear up for the people of the internet, feel free to leave them in the comments below, because I know there's a lot of people who lurk the comments, myself included. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.